All right, so moving on to the next segment, I'll be sharing my top 5 UFC welterweights in the UFC today. So these are my top 5 updated welterweight rankings. I'll be starting off number 1, going all the way down to number 5 in that particular order. So starting off with number 1, I have Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is currently the greatest welterweight on the UFC, a part of the UFC roster today. I think his style is the most difficult and the most it's going to be the most difficult for any welterweight contender to derail his style based off of what Shavkat Rakhmonov could do as his striking abilities, his grappling skills, and his unique style to give welterweight opponents issues. He currently is undefeated in the octagon in his MMA career. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is the best UFC welterweight fighter. At number 2, I have Jack Della, the reigning defending welterweight champion. Just had a really strong performance against Belal Muhammad in the main event of UFC 315 a few weeks ago to claim himself as the welterweight champion. I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is just a little bit better. Time will tell, but he's number 2 on my list. Number 3, I have Sean Brady. The new wild card of the welterweight division has arrived, and he showed that in dominating fashion when he dominated Leon Edwards. And Leon Edwards is home turf of the UK and London not too long ago. And he's not too small for the welterweight division. A lot of people think that Sean Brady is too small, but he has a great jiu-jitsu style and great MMA IQ, great grappling skills to make himself a threat in the welterweight division. Number 4, I have Belal Muhammad, the former welterweight champion. Did have a good fight against Jack Della and losing effort at UFC 315. His dominant performance that he had against Leon Edwards still proves why he is a top 5 welterweight in this division. And number 5, I'm going to go with Ian Gary. I think that he's the future of the welterweight division. He's cocky, he's arrogant, he can back it up in the octagon. He's a polished fighter with great overall skills. I think those are the top 5 welterweight fighters, and which is one of the loaded UFC welterweight divisions in the world today. But let's go into a deeper dive. The reasons why I have these respective fighters ranked from number 1 all the way to number 5 and my latest UFC welterweight rankings. So again, Shavkat Rakhmonov is at number 1. He's undefeated in his MMA career. He has that awkward style to give opponents problems in the octagon. Like I said, whoever defeats Shavkat Rakhmonov first in the welterweight division is going to not only have bragging rights over that, but could, to me, in my personal opinion, show why they are the best welterweight in the world. But right now, Shavkat Rakhmonov, his style is just so unpredictable. I mean, he's a dangerous finisher. He has no problem knocking out his opponents. He has no problem submitting his opponents. A dangerous striker, a dangerous grappler, and that's what he does best, is show people and gain new fans why he should be in contention with the best welterweights in the world, proving to not only just the UFC executives, but people like us, me talking behind a microphone, you guys watching and listening, why he is the best welterweight in the world. And he always wants the best of the best. He has voiced that several times, and he was supposed to get a welterweight title shot, actually. And he could be in the position that Jack Della is in today, but Belal Muhammad had that injury to keep him out of the final UFC pay-per-view of the calendar year 2024. So he could honestly be in the position that Jack Della is with the welterweight title today, but Shavkat Rakhmonov has no problem proving why he wants to fight the best of the best in this welterweight division. And he just proved that when he defeated Ian Gary, who was an undefeated fighter, like I just said, a top 5 welterweight in my own opinion, in December. So I think Shavkat Rakhmonov might be dealing with some injuries, some problems. I think we'll see him in the second half of 2025, but definitely, in my opinion, the best welterweight that the UFC has to offer today on their roster. Number 2 would be Jack Della. Jack Della is the reigning defending welterweight champion. I have him at number 2, but his rise to the division has been exciting to watch. If you guys follow Jack Della's career, he is overall on a 16-fight winning streak in his MMA career, and has been undefeated since joining the UFC roster in 2021. And then when you guys get your number called and the opportunity comes knocking at the door in the UFC and you get your first title fight, Jack Della did everything you're supposed to do. Execute in the main event slot of a UFC pay-per-view and win your first championship fight. And he did that against his stellar performance against Belal Muhammad, leaving the former champion Belal Muhammad with a broken nose, broken orbital bone, and a split upper lip in his first title fight, which sent Belal Muhammad to the hospital. So I thought, based off of that performance, Jack Della, I didn't see that coming. I really thought that Bilal Muhammad was going to win. But based off that performance, we got a new king of the welterweight division. Now, the question is, time will tell how good Jack Della is going to be at this welterweight division, especially as the welterweight champion, because his first title defense in the back end of 2025 seems like it's going to be against Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev, who just did vacate the lightweight title that's moving up to the welterweight division. So I think that's going to be a really good fight. But that will tell us how good and how impressive Jack Della is at this welterweight division, fighting a top 3 pound-for-pound UFC fighter in Islam Makhachev in the second half of 2025. Now, the reason why I had Sean Brady as 3 is, like I just said, Sean Brady is the wild card of this division, but I think he's showing why he is a legitimate threat at this division. I mean, he's tough as nails. He's a great grappler, a great MMA IQ. What's there to not like about Sean Brady? And his performance against Leon Edwards really sold me to show why he is a proven commodity at this welterweight division. Now, the fact is, Leon Edwards did get dominated last summer against Bilal Muhammad, yes, to lose the welterweight title. But nobody thought that Leon Edwards was going to sit there and lay an egg and get shut out 4-0 in favor of Sean Brady in the biggest fight of Sean Brady's career. I didn't see that coming. Maybe a lot of people picked Sean Brady, but I did not see him shutting out Leon Edwards 4-0. So, shutting him out 4-0, then submitting him on his home turf of London in the UK, that goes in the best victory of Sean Brady's career and his UFC run thus far. And that's the reason why Dana White and the rest of the UFC executives skyrocketed him up the welterweight division based off of that performance alone. So I think Sean Brady, depending on who he fights by the end of 2025, I think the UFC is going to give him one more big test and then possibly throw him in the fire for a welterweight title fight at some point in 2026. He can fight a big name at this welterweight division that has a lot of opponents lined up for him, a lot of contenders. But I think Sean Brady right now is the top 3 welterweight in the UFC today. And then number 4, the former welterweight champion in Bilal Muhammad. Former welterweight champion, yes. And in my opinion, he was viewed as a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter after he defeated Leon Edwards last summer to win the welterweight title. The problem with Bilal Muhammad was, I think he just got complacent. And yes, he did get a pretty tough draw when he had to defend the title against Jack Della in his first title defense, but there's no excuses. And Bilal Muhammad was, if you look at how far he's came in his UFC career, he was on a huge winning streak, climbing up the rankings of the welterweight division, finally winning the welterweight title, and then one night, everything is gone from him. And that's the best thing about combat sports is on any given night, whether you're in a ring or an octagon, anything can happen. And I just feel like the problem with Bilal Muhammad is he just lost. He's a really good fighter, but just got outclassed and lost his welterweight title in his first title defense, which makes me rank Bilal Muhammad at number 4. And then Ian Gary, like I said, I just believe that this guy Ian Gary, number 5, is the future of what the welterweight division is going to be at the 170-pound division. We've seen some all-time greats a part of this division. Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards. I could keep going on and on the great welterweights that we've seen over the past 3 to 5 years in this division. But something is just so catchy about Ian Gary. I think it's his attitude, his cockiness. I don't want him to be like Conor McGregor, because a lot of people compare him to Conor McGregor based off of him being from Ireland and he has the trash-talking skills. Not as highly as Conor McGregor did, but Ian Gary, I just think this guy is poised to be a future world champion at this 170-pound division in the UFC. I mean, he's already got some quality wins at this welterweight division. Defeating MVP, I think that fight take place last year in 2024. That was one of his big tests at the welterweight division. Then just defeated Carlos Ortiz a month ago. So even though he lost his only MMA fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov in December, and I think those two respective fighters will meet down the line for a welterweight title fight, I think Ian Gary has everything you need, all the tools to become a future welterweight champion. Now, some honorable mentions before I end this segment. I mean, obviously, you think about Islam Makhachev, who's coming to this division. In my opinion, the number one pound for pound fighter in the UFC, but he's never had a fight at the welterweight division, so you can't rank him in your top five. I think Kamaru Usman is definitely an honorable mention for his dominance at this welterweight division for so many years. And then Buckley as well. I can't wait until Kamaru Usman and Buckley fight in the summer, but I think Buckley is another strong tier welterweight that's coming up in this division. But those are my honorable mentions, and those are my top five welterweight fighters currently in the UFC today.